Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming, and today a bit of a special video for you. With the release of Diablo 4's new expansion Vessel of Hatred, we've been releasing lots of videos about the big update, the new content, and as always, many guides to everything. But with that release, I was also part of a special celebration event, a live stream with 3 other creators to show off how much the game's changed, attempt some challenges, and show off that new class, the Spiritborn. We were transported to a real-life Nahantu in these special sets where we had this cool ruins vibe in the jungle while we play, but then this very creepy but very incredible Mephisto-themed chamber for the challenges that we did. Today, for this video then, I was asked to just recap the event, talk about the experience overall, so let's begin. I joined 3 other creators for the event, like I said. This was Sweet Anita, Danny, and Cyborg Angel. It was a good group for it because we had this varied scale of experience with the game. Everyone had played the game before, but Anita had progressed pretty far into the campaign the day before this. So that was perfect for us because it meant I could jump into a pretty new Spiritborn that's a lot earlier in the campaign, but because I joined Anita's group, we were at the step she was at for the story. Now, without being too spoilery, the story picks up where we left off at the end of the original campaign. We're following after Nayrel after she disappeared with a crystal containing Mephisto. So with a prime evil influencing her, she really needs help, and she's leaving a trail that we're following. That's what brings us here to Nahantu, the new region that we find in the south, an ancient area filled with ruins and surviving tribes. That's what the main set was like, exploring that new jungle while we were kind of sat in one. Throughout this though, we each were playing a very different version of the Spiritborn, which is the new class introduced with Vessel of Hatred. Spiritborn comes with 4 main guardians that you choose between, themed around guardian spirits of a jaguar, an eagle, a gorilla, and a centipede. We'd all filled out a quiz beforehand to decide what would fit us best, and we ended up with a nice mix to show off each of the spirits on the day. I was playing the eagle, perfect for a quill volley focus as my core skill. As you can see, the skill tree for the class is divided up into 4 of the guardian themes. You can still mix and match the types no problem, but because I was playing with eagle, I was using a mix of eagle skills for lightning charge blasts and leaps, with some passive benefits from the jaguar skills to give me even more mobility. Each spirit guardian comes with its own ultimate skill though, to summon it into the fight briefly. So with the eagle, it slams down, knocks everything down, makes it vulnerable, and explodes in lightning. Compared to that, Anita had the centipede, so that was summoned to spread poison. Danny had his jaguar that would burst in with fire, and Cyborg had the gorilla to drop down, slamming out barriers to buffer the damage. Now on top of that, you can also choose the spirit hole options. That's the class mechanic for the Spiritborn. Here you can choose a main spirit effect and then a secondary one to kind of complement it. In the case of the eagle then, it means any eagle skill then gives me a movement speed bonus, and I can also fling storm feathers around whenever I actually evade. The secondary spirit I picked was jaguar though, which helped me get stacks of ferocity as I was killing targets. However, while we were messing with our builds and playing through the story, every now and then we'd be interrupted. A special summon would come out, stealing someone away from the group to this amazing Mephisto themed set. The designer did an incredible job with both sets, but this was like stepping into something else entirely. A lot of these little trials then, they had us choose to spread the rewards or try to take them for ourselves, to win game codes for our communities. For example, Anita was up first, and she had to choose whether she'd spread poison or drink it herself. She brought back these little shots, with one being blatantly more gross than the others, so if she made someone else drink it, she'd keep the pile of codes for her community. So naturally being completely heartless, she made Cyborg drink it.
What's a little poison from a centipede?
Exactly
Like it's nothing. How's that?
That was horrible.
Oh no! For myself though, my first Mephisto time was a kind of memory game. I needed to take just 60 seconds to look at 15 objects on a table, and if I could correctly call out at least 12 of them, I'd keep the game codes for myself, but if I got less than that, I would not only get nothing, but the others would get everything. That turned out not to be the hardest part. The real hardest part was my apparent inability to blindfold myself. It took me 3 attempts to somewhat get it on there, but it was not a problem because it was only a few thousand people watching me live struggle with a piece of cloth. Having said that, I kind of crushed the challenge. I managed to get 13 of the 15 right, so apparently blindfold nightmares don't faze me at all. When it was eventually Danny's turn though, he had a choice. Play some mind games without being detected, or stay and answer some revealing questions. Danny, I thought, was a really nice guy. And with that, he decided to answer the questions rather than mess with us. He had to answer some embarrassing stuff, but when asked who is the inferior Diablo player in the group, he said this.
Probably... I'm going to go with Aaron on this one. I'm going to go with Aaron.
I trusted you, Danny. Last up there was Cyborg Angel, and she had a choice herself. She could choose to share the rewards, but to do that, she'd have to intentionally get all our names wrong at least once, or within 5 minutes without anyone realizing that's actually a challenge. I'd like to think we would have realized, but instead of that, she went with Steal to keep all the rewards for herself, but she'd have to answer a series of questions while remembering to only answer with the last question's answer.
What is your name? What is your favorite Diablo 4 class?
Cyborg Angel.
What was your nickname at school?
Spiritborn.
So by the end of this round, I was sharing the top of the board with Anita, doing pretty well. And by this point, we'd actually made it towards the end of the campaign. We'd learned that Cyborg Angel was a bit of a loot goblin. She just couldn't stop herself from picking up items we'd drop. So every now and then we'd make a little item path for her to follow, and she'd just automatically have to gather it. After the story finished up though, we started to try some of the new options in the game these days. With Nahantu being a new region, there's a lot of new dungeons, and these in design are a lot wider compared to the tight corridors of the original game. But with that, there's also new difficulty modes to try. You can choose between normal, hard, expert and penitent at first, so as the difficulty goes up, you actually get better rewards like more XP and gold, but then there's even more modes, extra challenging torment levels 1 to 4. These massively improve your gold and XP, as well as introduce the potential of better items called ancestrals. Those are like the endgame modes post-story. In general, there's been a lot of overhauls to the itemization of the game, and even more so in this DLC. It's a lot clearer to understand the items in general. But for the difficulties, while normal is meant to be kind of a comfortable starting point, expert and penitent expects really good play, but also prepared equipment. So we decided to test our limits. We hopped into a dungeon in Torment, and it was a total mess. But after dropping down to expert, we actually found we could handle that, making it to the final boss, which had fire he would spread out, but he would also summon these packs of exploding spiders that would take out anyone caught in that. And worse, as it turned out, the first enemy was just kind of a bait. The real boss was the spider hiding within, so it was a second health bar to get through. We did eventually get the hang of it though, with a few people being caught out here and there. But with someone distracting the boss at the right times, we could always just revive someone down and keep it going.
Come on.
Got him, we got him, we got him, we got him. Let's go.
Good job.
That was so hard.
Yes.
No legendary. Ugh.
What was it for?
So this was our first group challenge. Anita joined me for a little mind game challenge. We needed to have her suddenly leave whatever we were doing, but without the other two actually noticing that she's just left. So I thought it would be a good idea if we tried a new type of content with the expansion. It's called the Undercity. The Undercity takes the old Gauntlet mode and updates it, with proper rewards tied to it, through the new tribute system, letting you increase the challenge, but in turn, get specific rewards that you're after. The idea is simple though, you have a timer that's running out, and lots of different challenges within to complete as fast as you can. This gives you progress to the next step, and eventually you win if you manage it. I figured that'd be really good for Anita to suddenly leave because, you know, they all be focused on the timer. And it worked perfectly. Everyone was so focused on what they were doing that they had no clue. By comparison, the other team's challenge was much worse. Together, Danny and Cyborg Angel had to eat a spicy bean without showing any reactions or drinking water for just a minute. Not so bad at first, but the thing is, after they'd done that, they were just suffering when they came back. Like for the next 15 minutes, they're still dealing with that. So I'm actually glad I dodged that one. The last thing we did though was a bit of exploration into the updated Helltide. Every hour, an area on the map will turn into this kind of hellish landscape with way more demons. During that, you can kill enemies to get cinders, and then use those to open up chests for specific loot. The thing is, if you die, you lose a bunch of those cinders, so you gotta be careful. Helltide's had quite a big overhaul a couple seasons back, called Helltide Reborn. These days then, there's a lot of new events, way more density to the mobs, new enemy types called the Hellborn, and the Blood Maiden boss herself. We gave her a go for the fun of it, and since it's an open world event, other players came running in to help too.
Hey!
Yay.
And not a single death.
Not a
either.
single
Not a single
one.
death.
Hey,
saw
listen,
nothing.
I got 32 cinders back. That is not all of what I lost. I
Hey,
am...
hey, it could be 0.
Yeah.
This brings us to the last challenge, to vote who the most reliable player in the team was overall.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna find out in just a moment who is the most trustworthy. Which is, I've really been playing the wrong game I've realized this whole time. The opposite of what I should have been doing. Oh, thanks, guys. That's very kind.
Hey.
Big,
Oh,
big. Thank God you carried.
Overall then, it was just a fun event. A big thank you to the team putting it together. It was really nice to be part of it. We had a really good group. So if you somehow didn't realize by now, the expansion is out right now. You can jump back into the game with the major update that is Vessel of Hatred, but that's still going to come with all the major updates that came each season before that. The game is in the best state we've had it, so now is definitely the time. For now though, thank you for watching. I've been Hollow, you've been you, and see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.